How are we doing? Back once again for episode 3. I just want to clear a few things up. Obviously, there's been a bit of confusion with the title of the podcast. I didn't know there was an event called It's Time to Jam, which I can only apologise for. So we've had to rename the podcast It's Time to Refresh. I hope that doesn't bother anyone or anything. Just something I thought worth mentioning before I opened up the podcast. So on this podcast, we've got DJ and promoter Chris Pears. Another top episode. As usual, if you enjoy the podcast, then please share it with your mates. It's kindly appreciated. We are getting some really good figures on Spotify and SoundCloud, so I'm very grateful for that. If you do enjoy the podcast, then feel free to follow us on social media. We are on Instagram, and we do have our own community group on Facebook, which is It's Time to Refresh podcast-community. You can ask questions to the guests, get early info, and any bonus content related to the podcast. So for the next hour, I'm having a crack with Chris Pears. Enjoy.
Hey kids, what time is it?
It's time to refresh.
Right, we're back with episode 3. On this one, we've got Chris Pears.
How you doing?
We're going to talk about local history, him starting out, his influences, promotion, production, venues he's played at, his favourite sets, club memories, funny stories. We'll go over his 3 favourite tracks, his future plans, anything he wants to plug, and then we'll do his Chinese meal for one at the end as well. I forgot to do that with Dean, and I apologise. Sorry, Dean. I'll post it in the group. If I get in contact with him, I'll ask him. So, all right, Chris, mate.
Yeah, not bad, mate.
Yeah. We'll get into you starting out. Obviously, just get the conversation going. So, how old are you now?
I am 33, getting old now.
Yeah. So, when did you get into it? What sort of age were you?
I'd say it was last year at school, which will be 2005, if I'm right.
2005, right.
So, obviously, when I was in school, it was all Acadie and Czech.
Yeah.
Ultimate vibe. And there was the likes of the Beefomania under 18 nights.
Yeah.
So that's basically how I got into the music. Then my dad, he bought level 2.
Right.
So Ultimate Vibe was in level 2, and obviously I went to all them underaged.
Yeah, yeah.
As you do.
So, Ultimate Vibe, who was running that?
Ultimate Vibe, I think it was Chris Dynamite.
Right, yeah, I thought so,
He
yeah.
actually lives in Carlisle now,
Yeah.
but it was...
We talked about him on the last podcast. Dean was saying about him. He's a good lad. I did a couple of events for him in the past.
Yeah.
So, so this is how you sort of got into it. What was it like in school? Like, was it... Because from what I remember in school, I'm a little bit younger than you, like, but when I was in, like, sort of year 7, year 8, everyone was sending, like, frequency CDs, and what was big at the time? I'm trying to think. There was sort of like Killer Combo. There was locals as well. There was like the Dirty Donkers lads. And it was all sending via Bluetooth, and you'd go over to patches of the sort of playground with the kids, and they'd have the different things on. You'd have like there was lasses and that, and they'd have like fucking DJ Booney or fucking Rankin on, and it'd be like dead cheesy. But the other things, like all the lads and that, it was like frequency CDs. Sort of, I'm trying to think what else there was.
Wigan P CD 2 for track 33.
Yeah, no, that's sort of what Wigan P CDs. But the MC thing was really big at the beginning, like for us when we were in school. That's what it was, and that's how I sort of remember it. So was it similar for you?
Yeah, it was, mate. Yeah, everything was on mobile phones. So obviously, as you know, I was in Dirty Donkers. So it was mainly Burgos and Jams, Spear.
Yeah.
Everyone loved Berg. It was everyone's ringtones. Sending it round school, in class, infrared. Put your phone on top of each other, sending it for hours.
I know. What I remember, sort of, my first thing of you was, I can't remember the first time I met you. Like, to be honest,
I think first time we met was in Pure.
No, I met you before then, mate. I met you before Pure was Pure. Yeah. I met you. Could have been maybe.
Could have been a Gallagher's night.
Gallagher's, maybe 2009 or 10. That was like, no, it must have been 2010, because I wasn't in 2009.
That makes me feel old.
I know. No, but like, yeah, like, it was, I think it was it Gregor's nights? Did you do Gregor's nights?
Yeah, I done a few Gregor's, yeah. He done that all day event, didn't he?
Was it all? No, it was a night time. Well, the one I'm thinking of anyways, I met you it was a nighttime event, if I'm sure. I can't remember. So when I first heard of you, it was because I think you did a couple of things locally. Like, if I remember rightly, you'd obviously, I think you were in Dirty Donkers 4. Was that your first
Yeah,
one?
yeah.
Right, and then I remember did you do Addiction in that? You did, didn't you?
Yeah, I done Addiction with Johnny Dunnett and whatnot. Then I done Maximise with Hoodie.
Yeah, you.
Nick Graham, who sadly passed away now.
Yeah. And that's my sort of first thing of you. My first thing of you is I remember someone had on the phone. It was you obviously MC Liberty, and it was either I can't remember the two tunes. It was either is it DJ Tear? I can't remember what his name was. It was Game Over.
Game Over, yeah.
And you were
That Spanish
MCing
track.
to like fucking 160. That was my first sort of thing when I heard you, and I'm sure that was like with like Coidy and King Ian. That was yeah. So, and then
there was quite a few of them recordings.
Yeah.
Flying about.
And that's how I sort of heard you. I didn't know you were a DJ. I didn't even like until later on.
Well, basically, when I first started, it was from going to a Beef Mania night at Whitehaven in Civic Hall.
What, and you've gone on to get to know them?
It was a New Monkey special night, and there was an open mic MC comp on.
Yeah.
So I thought, fuck it, I'll give it a go. Went up and won it.
Oh,
I got to go back to back with Ace and Tazo on Nemesis set.
Oh God.
And it just went from there really.
Crazy.
Obviously just mixing in houses, making CDs.
So how old are you at this point? like
16.
16.
Yeah.
So 16's a sort of the.
When I got my first decks and started it out.
When was the Addiction Maximise stuff? Is that sort of 16, 17, 18?
That was college days.
Oh, was it?
It was quite a bit on
Right.
that. Because obviously I met Cardi in college.
Right.
And it just went from there.
So go on then. You've came back from Ibiza Mania. What was next after that?
Right, so I started Beef Mania, got into my MCing.
So you were predominantly an MC first. You weren't a DJ,
yeah.
right? Okay. Oh, right, I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
then I started. Well, I've been best mates with Jams for ages now. So Jams taught me how to mix. He's a wizard on the turntables. Not a lot of people seeing him mix on vinyl, but I've got a lot of respect for Jams. He's a good DJ.
Honestly, I can't remember the last time I seen him. To be honest, I see him around at work and that, but like, I can't remember.
He's lost interest, to be honest. Now
Yeah.
he just MCs. Just
I haven't seen him DJing at all. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen him DJ. To be honest.
Well,
but
when we put nights on, like in Soup and whatnot, he always jumps on warm up and
yeah,
knocks out good sets. His knowledge is second to none.
I know he was he got big into like the sort of house stuff and that, didn't he, back in the day? And
Yeah,
like,
he still loves that, to be honest. I think everyone do. They just jump in between that, and they're like
Yeah.
sheep.
it's unreal. So go on then. What happened after that then?
Right, after that, Dance Factory Nights in Fusion for Dobby.
Right. We touched on them in the Marco episode. So that's where you must have been on them nights. Honestly, I can't remember ever meeting you, but you must have been on them nights. Now I was started going to the under 18s before, so they did like they would put a couple of the DJs who was on the lineup on beforehand on the under 18s. We'd go there, sort of go, and then the main event would be the Dance
Right
Factory
after,
after it. Yeah.
So I think there was a DJ comp on one of them under 18s nights, and I went in it. Basically, I fucked up. I couldn't mix for shit. The nerves got me.
So who was on this with you? It was like sort of. I'm trying to gauge a time.
Yeah, it was basically Millsy and Andy, and I think Marco could have been there, to be honest. But they just done the under 18s with the likes of Jams and Berg MCing.
Yeah.
So I fucked up my set, and Andy just said to us, "Why don't you just MC?" So I MC'd, and it went down well.
Yeah.
But then from that, I thought, right, I need to step my game up. So I went home, mixed, made everything perfect.
What are you mixing at this point? Is it bounce?
It was Machina.
Machina, right, alright, yeah.
Yeah, I started off on Machina.
Right. So what type of tunes were you playing? Was it like solidly Machina? Were you doing like German trance or?
Monkey classics.
Oh, right, okay.
Like Monster Sound and...
Sort of what everyone would be into.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Right. So then from there you're learning, but at this time are you still MCing on these CDs, or is it all just sort of progressing together?
Progressing together, mate. So I was making mixes myself at home and probably just MCing over them.
Yeah.
But then I got into the love of DJing and quit my MCing. Then I was on every Dance Factory night. and I become a resident of Fusion.
So what sort of year is this?
Yeah, about 2010, when I was 18, 19.
Right. Oh, so were you not? I'm sure. Were you not? Did you not do level 2 before that? Were you not doing?
No,
some stuff
I
in
didn't
there?
do anything in level 2.
Oh, right.
For the ultimate vibe. I did once Fusion shut down.
Right. So
Then it went all over to level 2.
right,
It got
right.
took over, didn't it?
Because it was Hogs and Effers then,
Hogs
wasn't
and
it?
Effers, yeah.
Right, yeah, go on.
That was just upstairs. So yeah, I started doing residence slots in there too.
So you were playing for who at this point? What was the?
It was still Dobby.
Oh, was it?
No, it was still Dobby.
So what were the events called then?
There was still Dance Factory.
Oh, was
nights,
it?
Yeah,
Oh,
but
right.
he was doing like it was like monthly posters. So on one month he had Antidote, he had Rome and everyone up.
Yeah.
That was a good night. That was messy. I'm sure Rome, if you're listening, you'll remember our party in the rooms. Yeah, then it just went from there, to be honest.
I can't remember the Dance Factory flyers. Obviously, you go into like Chattanooga's, like pizza shops and whatnot, and you go in, and then it'd be like May, they've got like say Antidote, and then like June they'd have like Blackout Crew.
Yeah.
And it'd be sort of like 4 events on one flyer.
Yeah, it was,
and
yeah.
That's how I first started. Like, because obviously everyone had it at school. Then from there, it'd be like, well, you want to get into it, and then you're looking at flyers for the next under 18. So you go into like the pizza shop or something, and you look at the flyer. Oh, it's just an over 18s event. Fuck it, right? Whatever. So then obviously like Blackout Crew, and that came up, and we got to go to the under 18s then. So
Yeah, they would do both, so you weren't missing out. So the under 18s would get to see Blackout Crew, and over 18s did too.
So you were saying about the messy nights and that. What was the crack with that?
I've got to be careful what I say here. No, they just come up, and as you do, you just go partying with them, and
Yeah.
I
So
don't really want to say much.
Oh no, it's fine. It's fine. It's So what I'm saying is though, were they coming up, and because nowadays if there's DJs and that on, they'll come up, do the set, then go back home. Were they getting hotels and staying over and just getting messy themselves? Right.
Some of them would, yeah, and some of them would just go back. Like the Blackout Crew, they would just come get the wage and go.
Yeah. Speaking of like Dobby and putting his events and that on, if you look back now, some of them events, if you put these lineups on today, they'll be like legendary. Like if you think about it, like they had Head Hornies,
they had some brilliant
QFX, like headline and people like that, and then they'd have like a solid like support and lineup as well. Do you know what I mean? And if you've seen that lineup now, it'd probably pack out a club. It's just the way it is. Maybe I know, like you're selling that you were on the up. You weren't sort of like, you weren't the well-known name. But what I'm saying is, there's like other people on the lineup now. If you put that on, it'd be like a solid sort of
structure.
Yeah, it'd be a solid like. There'll be no like fat on the lineup. Do you know what I mean? You've sort of solid sort of lineup. So from there, 2010, what you doing?
So yeah, I'd done the Dance Factory, then they stopped. Then obviously I become a resident in Fusion.
Right.
With Andy, Millsy, Marco, just every Saturday night.
So is it busy at this point?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, it was busy every weekend.
So what you playing? Are you playing a mixture of everything?
Classics. It was mainly just classics.
Right, classics. Because
that's why I love classics so much.
Well, when I was speaking to Marco, obviously when he was on, he'd be playing. He played a bit earlier, didn't he? So it was like he'd play sort of the house stuff, and then he'd move on to play sort of clubland, and then
they split it up in nights. So like Thursday was R&B and pop.
Yeah. Then
Friday, I think that was like £1 Fridays. Every drink was £1.
I remember some of them daft deals you used to do on there.
Pints of Skittles.
Yeah. So then 2011, it must have shut down by then. Like, what happened on sort of them dying days?
I can't remember what. Yeah, it shut down, but yeah, it eventually died off. There was a guy called Dave Coates. I don't know if you remember him. He used to DJ in Fusion. He really liked me as a DJ. And he brought me up to Barrow after that. There was actually a ship at Barrow, which was a nightclub.
I can remember.
So I was resident on there for quite a while. We had some good nights on there.
Is this bounce music as well, is it?
Yeah, that was bounce. I think his nights were called Bounce Nation.
All right.
He got some big names on. He had Blackout on it. The likes of Finchy, John Neal, Jamie Agar. You never heard of him anymore.
Yeah, quality.
Unbelievable.
I think I've only met him maybe once or twice, but like you listen back to his CDs and that some of his stuff was like ahead of its time. Like back then, I'm not sure what he's doing now, to be honest. But
I'm sure. Did Finch not book him on his frequency night?
Possibly, yeah. Is that the reunion? Is that the one of the truth?
It could have been reunion or that one of his nights beforehand, but I'm sure I've seen him on the lineup.
Maybe worth getting him back up here, you know.
True. How do you get in touch with him more? Jamie, if you're listening, give us a message. So from there was the boat. I was actually on a frequency night on the boat, and I was on after John Neal. Then there's a mix what everyone knows me by. JDS Zombie in To Watch Me Work It on Perfect.
Yes, I know that one.
Yeah,
I was going to ask you about that, I think. Where did I hear that? I heard it.
It's still on YouTube now.
Oh, is it? Right. So it's on the build up, isn't it? When it's coming in and it's playing the zombie riff, and you drop in the and the like, is it That's All Folks or something like that? On the, do you know when it just cuts and it's got the Looney Tunes
Watch
in?
Me Work It.
Yeah. It's got like it's quality tune, that, actually.
Yeah, it is. I think it's Pidgey Pop, isn't it?
Yeah, quality. So is this a style you're playing at that time?
That
so
was
it was
the style
like,
I was playing. So obviously, I love my Spanish. I've always mixed tunes in every drop possible. As you know. So from there, I was on after John Neal, and I done that mix. And I'm certain John Neal and Finch just looked over and I'm like, who the fuck's that?
Yeah.
Then at the time there was website forums.
Yeah.
Time to Come Alive.
Yeah. I can remember that.
And Finchy actually put a post on saying we just finished a set at Barrow, and there was this lad called DJ Liberty. Is there any more info about him? And from there, I stepped back and looked at it because like I didn't expect it one bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is where I've got potential to go places now. That's when I did push myself.
So people were starting to notice what you were doing on the decks.
Yeah.
Right. So what happened next?
Deviation competition for Farrell.
So what's this? 2011 would it be?
Could have been 2011, 2012.
Right. And who's on the lineup with you there? I'm sure it was a decent lineup, that, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was the likes of Gary Kay. I think Rico was on. I can't remember who was that.
Adam C was on, wasn't he?
Adam C was
Quality
on.
DJ.
Oh, he's unbelievable.
Yeah. Definitely get him on nights if he was willing to like.
Oh yeah, if he was willing.
I like his style.
He's unbelievable.
Who was the MCs that were on?
A guy called Turner.
Don't know him.
I'm sure Sammy. Who's
I
done
can remember Sammy. Was it Medicine? He used to do.
Yeah, he's done a few bits with Finchy, hasn't he?
Right.
I think Wilco was maybe on.
Right.
There was quite a few. Berg was on.
Yeah.
And the final was in Warrington at Club Halo.
Oh, Super Club, that, wasn't it?
Yeah. Amazing club, that.
What was that like?
Yeah, it was excellent. Basically, it was set out a little bit like Fusion. So you had your DJ booth in the middle.
Yeah.
Then there was like... It's like a Theatre Royale, like a booth, just in the corner, and the MCs would stand on his booth, and it was really effective.
Not like that anymore, is it?
No, it was good. Then there was a back room, obviously we played, and yeah, it was decent. I enjoyed it. I couldn't run her up. I think Gary won it, to be honest.
Right. So at this point, you start to like network, get to know people, and who's who and whatnot. I know you probably did that when you were like with the Dance Factory and that. But now you're sort of out of Cumbria at this point, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So after that, you become more regular on Century, didn't you?
Yeah. I think Andy realised like what potential myself and Gary had. So he was booking me and Gary quite a lot. Then I got my first booking in Syndicate. And I'm sure... When the lineup come out, I was back to back with Zuni, and I was like, fucking hell.
Zuni's quality, by the way.
Yeah, he is.
I think he was the second guest I ever booked for an event, and I was like, because I always listened to his CDs, and he always played it a bit different, do you know what I mean? Like, he
always
classics,
comes out, yeah.
But he can play, like, if he needs to go a little bit harder, to like, if the crowd are wanting that a little bit harder, he'll pull out a few Spanish bits and that, and you're just like, fucking hell.
There's always that thing with Zuni, when he's on, he'll always play a track and you're like, fucking hell, I forgot about that tune.
Yeah. I know what you mean. So you were back to back with Zuni.
Yeah.
At Syndicate, what was that like?
Yeah, it was amazing. DJ booth there. You won't get a better booth.
Spaceship, isn't it?
Oh, mate.
So what type of stuff were you playing on this night? Were you going Spanish or?
Yeah, I went in.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but it went down really well. Then I got booked again. I was back to back with Cheese on the next one. Then yeah, it just went from there, to be honest. Up and down the country playing for Sang. Then what was after that? I think after that.
Bounce sort of took a bit of a fucking nosedive, didn't it, around about this time?
It
so
did. Then I think I stopped for a little bit. Then obviously I come back like I always do.
yeah, I think everyone does. Everyone says like, "Oh, I'm jacking" or whatnot. Or like, you'll see a proper like daft retirement status on Facebook or something, and you just like give it a couple of months, like because it's for me like I'll always, if I talk to people in the street and that and they sort of know about bounce and stuff and we're having a crack, it's like I'll say, I don't know how much longer I can sort of do it with, like, do you know what I mean, like. A couple of weeks ago, I was playing for Sank in Blackpool, and I was on like 6 till 7 in the morning, graveyard shift. So like that wrote off my Sunday, and I was thinking, how long do I want to do this for? But then you can't back out of it because you've just got that itch constantly to go back and do more. And like, on the Sunday I felt a bit shit in that, like coming home and sleeping sort of half the day. But it's like it's an itch that you won't scratch if you don't stop it. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
like,
it does, mate. Yeah.
So
yeah,
I
I've done many
understand,
graveyard shifts.
Yeah.
Best way to do is have a sleep beforehand.
That's what I
but
do.
Even still, when you have that sleep and you get up and do your set, you're still knackered after it.
Yeah. So at this point, have you put any events on yourself?
No.
Right.
Obviously, I had my kids.
Yeah.
And that's when I had a little break. Then working died off. So it got to that stage where I was like, I need to bring bounce back. If I put a bounce event on now, it's going to kick off.
So what year are we talking here now?
Right.
Because I remember sort of 2012. Yeah, probably 2012. I think there was only one decent event that year in this area. And if I remember rightly, I think it was Chris Dynamite's night. It was a Machina night, Turbo D. Sort of.
I think Techno 2 was on as well.
Yeah. So it was a sort of that was the only sort of thing that was lingering. Sort of 2012. It's sort of, as I said, no one was interested. I tell you something. In 2012, every company wanted to be a cool kid. Like it was all this jacking out and like fidget and all that came along.
Sunrise and whatnot.
Yeah. You can't knock it because obviously it's what everyone wants to do. But it's sort of that took all of the bounce crowd away. I remember people like in the Oak and that. Can you remember the Royal Oak? And it was like
Dreamland nights.
Yeah, there was, but there was a lot of house on at the time.
Yeah, me, Berg and Jams put a house night on. Who did we have on the lineup?
You had Yanis and that, didn't you?
Yanis and Miles.
I thought so. Yeah. I can remember that.
They done a 3-deck set and it was unbelievable.
But that's the thing. Like it took like Yanis G. It took a lot of the lads away from bounce at that time. Even a lot of like the frequency lads went to do house and sort of they sort of stuck to that and doing that. But with regards to round here, there was sort of nothing for a while.
No, it was real quiet because all pubs were shutting.
Yeah, there was, but we didn't even really have a club. There wasn't a club as such, do you know. So
there was nothing.
So 2013, I think. Let me think. There was nothing really 2013 either.
I think, was that not when Elliot's reopened and Mark got in there and he done some fusion reunions?
Yeah. So
he brought Tidy Boys up, didn't he?
I did my... Yeah, this is a fucking belter story, this, mate. I'm going to keep it short and sweet, right? I did my first base mental event in Elliot's. It was December 2012. Obviously starting out, it was and honestly the lineup was pretty decent for a local lineup. Like I can't remember who did I have on? I had Tom Hayward on. I had
Tom's doing well now down in Leeds. He's in the house.
Good producer, decent producer.
He's doing it with J Mac.
Yep. I'm sure they used to do a bit of bounce. I'm sure.
Yeah, they did.
I thought so.
Yeah. J Mac's made some absolute quality tracks.
And then who else did I have on? I had Jams on. I had
Did you not have a Yuki on?
Yuki on as well, yeah. And I had Hardcore Explosion in the back room, like Beachy and all them lot. And mate, we got about 20 people in. It was fucking shit. Like obviously it was on its ass at the time. It was just totally rubbish. Everywhere was dead though. We'd come out and like looking around town to go on flyers and that out, and it was fucking dead, like completely. And it's like, as I say, it's disheartening when you put a shit event on, but it can't be helped, can it?
Yes, it's hit and miss in working. To be honest, you can't pick good days.
Yeah, and
you can now because you know. Obviously, when everyone goes out now, it's either a Friday or a Sunday.
I was talking to Marco off camera, off pod, after his session, and we were saying that all the young kids you see out now, sort of 18, 19, 20, 21, they're all people who's had kids from like Fusion in like 2002, 2003, and the only reason they're loving it so much is because they grew up on bounce music or clubland music, whatever you want to call it. And now they're all right up for it when you like you say, when you put your own events on yourself, that they're putting you put an event on and you get loads of young ones in who you're like, most of the songs came out before they were born. Do you know what I mean? It's fucking madness. And it's like Zone was on about 2 weeks ago, and loads of people I know from around here went.
Yeah, quite a lot of people went.
And it was, but the thing was like the people who it was like my brother who's only like 20 or 21 maybe.
Yeah, and they don't have the knowledge behind it.
Yeah, but that's the thing. They're going to these nights because obviously their mums and dads were massive on the fucking Zone train. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I can remember the first ever Zone in Fusion. That was my first night out. I was only 16.
What year is this? Sort of
2004. Oh, it could have been. Yeah.
Was this a Zone night on its own or Zone versus Dance
No, it was
Factory?
just Zone at Fusion.
Right.
I'm sure I've still got the DVD somewhere, to be honest. And honestly, the queue, it was from Fusion, right up the hill, right over the car park.
Yeah.
And it was past Marks and Spencer's, like in the main town.
Unreal.
It was amazing.
Zone's got a massive name around here. Like, everyone who's sort of 40 plus, like, even people I talk to at work and that, it's like, you talk to them and it's just, like, Zone tunes. They don't know it as Italian or piano house or out like that. It's just Zone tunes, isn't it? That's what it is. Yeah. Like, it's a genre within itself. So back on it. You did a bit of hard house for a while as well, didn't you?
I did. I started knocking about with my baby's godfather, Borg. I'm sure Mark talked about Borg on the podcast.
Yeah.
And he got me right into hard house. He introduced us to Robbie Muir.
Yeah.
He's actually living in Australia now. I've done a few tracks with Robbie. And just going to tidy weekenders.
Yeah. So this was the sort of downtime for the bounce thing? Wasn't it was. That? Yeah.
I fell out with bounce and I got right into my hard house.
Yeah. I do love a bit of hard house. Like, don't get me wrong, I've done a lot of hard house tracks myself. But I think bounce is sort of what you...
I like the funky hard house, Digital Mafia stuff, Ross Thompson.
Quality, isn't it? It's got a proper groove to it.
Oh, mate, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So I got into my hard house, done a few Dreamland nights for Mark.
Yeah.
And it just went from there. It just splits. Like,
yeah. Oh no. Yeah. There is things and trends. Because I can remember when you started coming back to bounce, I think you sent me a mix online on Messenger or something like that. I listened to it and you could tell that you were playing sort of bounce into hard house type stuff.
I started blending them both into one.
Yeah.
And I noticed after that, a lot of people copied us.
Yeah. But if I remember rightly, you were playing a bit of like Digital Mafia type stuff, but then you'd bring in a sort of bounce tune on top of that, and then you'd go back into like it wasn't just a hard house into bounce. It was just like, say, one hard house tune, one bounce tune, and then back into hard house, and it was a sort of style that was sort of developing. Yeah. And a lot of people did jump on that style.
Yeah, well, that's what I wanted to do, because obviously anyone can mix in this day and age. But knowing your tunes, knowing how to set a mix out. Yeah. It's totally different.
Yeah. You've got to keep it fresh as well. Like, there is them DJs who are, I don't want to say, I don't sound negative or like that, but like they're like fan favourites within the scene, but they're playing the same sort of 20 to 40 tracks within the sets, and it's just
get paid on a Friday, go on XL Digital, buy the tracks and make a mix out of it.
Yeah, but it's always like rehashes of the same tune, like Paradise See the Light or like ultra beats.
Pretty,
yeah, like it's all the sort of same thing.
Well,
but
that's why I've recently done a DJ comp for Sectioned. I wanted a classics DJ,
yeah,
but when I put it out there, I says, listen, I want classics, like proper classics. To me, classics aren't Wigan Pear tunes.
yeah. It's
It's
pre
like
it's
old
pre
trance.
donk, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
it is. It's like what donk evolved from. So it's like a mixture of like hard house, trance. It's like that. It's got that offbeat, but it's That's the same sort of thing as me. When I think classics, that's what I think of. When you see nowadays and someone puts out a classics mix and it's all just Alex K remixes, it's a bit
Exactly. I'm
disheartening.
like, fucking hell, mate.
It's disheartening. I tell you who puts out some good classics mixes. Poom Styles does Poom Styles.
Stance is unbelievable.
Unbelievable, aye.
I got booked for Icon in Newcastle, and Poom Styles was on before us, and me and Lee just looked at each other and were like, "Fuck me, he's amazing." Like,
Do you know what I found really good about him? He's a decent lad and that, like, absolute great lad. But what I found about him when he's playing is his ability to read a crowd. Like, he knows what. There isn't many DJs that's got that, like, that foresight of, like, you could play a tune and it would go down well, but he knew what tune needed to be played at that moment
to bring that crowd up.
Yeah, to bring it back up. And like sometimes I've seen him play and he play out a tune where it's sort of it brings it down a bit, but it's only to bring it back up again straight away. It's quite he's good.
Yeah,
it's a
it's
good
clever,
mind.
innit?
I think he's
Yeah,
he's got a really good mind for it. He's got a good ear for your music as well.
Yeah,
But
he's real good.
I'll send this to him, mate, just because he'll love the.
You should get him on, to be honest, because
That's the
I'd say
plan.
he's got some good stories.
I've already talked to him about it. He's coming on at some point.
Yeah, good.
So you sort of 2013, 2014 now. What you doing?
So split from the Hard House, went back into Bounce. I think that's when I got in with Kenty, and Kenty was building us for Excel.
How did you find it coming back? Was it hard to get your foot in the door again, or was it? How did?
Not
what was
really,
it?
because obviously at that point, quite a lot of people knew my name from Sanctuary and whatnot. Like I'm not blowing my own trumpet, but
Yeah. Was it? What were you at this? So you still DJ Liberty though, aren't you? At this.
I was.
so-
And obviously when I went to Hard House, I changed my name to Chris Pears.
right. No worries. So then that's how it sort of evolved from there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because obviously people don't have daft names in Hard House. it's all the natural names.
Where did the Liberty name come from?
Here we go. An art project in school.
Oh God.
Basically, we were drawing New York,
Uh.
and I was doing Statue of Liberty, and I was like, "Yeah, that's good." Well,
So is this when you were like trying to when you're trying to get the MCing thing off, and it's like, what do I do? What should I call
what should I
myself?
call myself? Should I call myself Chrissy P?
I know what you mean.
But yeah, Liberty
Right.
just stick.
I'm sure some people will be like buzzing to know where that come from. You
Yeah,
know.
well, a lot of people still shout it out when I'm in sets and that, like Cover and Arky always take the piece. And
Yeah.
DJ Liberty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something you can't shake off, is it? Because obviously you push that for a while, and it's like
Yeah.
when you try to be more serious and use your actual name, people are going to remember it. Do you know what I mean? I'm just glad I didn't keep my fucking DJ name for when I started out. I was DJ Millie B.
Millie B. Aye. There's some good names out there, to be honest.
Yeah, but so it's like sort of 2014, and you're playing for Kenty. So
Yeah.
what was the first event you were booked for?
I think it was Summer Special, Part 1.
Something special.
In
That-
a Beaver bar.
was that the big? That was a fucking big lineup, that wasn't it?
Yeah,
was
I think
that like?
was with Nicky B and Chuchi.
Right.
Part 1, back to back.
Was that? Oh, right. I thought the first one was it not with like Double Penetration, Gary Select? He put on like a fucking like an expensive lineup.
It could have been, to be honest. Yeah.
Right, so you're playing a beefer bar. So you're back in sort of the Wigan sort of
Yeah.
thing. Are you still playing the hard house bits?
Well, I was on after Luke Woodson. And Luke Woodson done a brilliant hard bass set, as he does.
Yeah.
And I went down with Key Clark. I was like, how am I going to top that? Like halfway through it, because he was absolutely banging. And Key says, just do what you do, just go in. So
Do we not book before that? You know, because I'm sure I met you in. Well, not met you. I sort of seen
have
you.
been, to be honest.
Were you with Connor and thing in?
yeah, Jack Dunn.
Oh mate, that's a story as well. Can you remember that?
Yeah, I've got a story actually for that.
No, well,
Here we go.
it was Boxing Day 2013. I'd went out with my missus shopping in Manchester.
I was going to say this story.
Well, and I went out with my missus shopping in Manchester, and I seen that the event was on. I sort of forgot about it. I don't really go on Boxing Days. I'm more of a New Year's Eve, but and my missus said like, "Oh, should we get a hotel and that to stay over?" I was like, nah, not really. I says, I'll tell you something, I'll pop my head into this event in Wigan. So I drove to Wigan, and she fucking sat in the car and waited for us while I went in thing. And I walked in, and then I think you were with Connor and Jack at the time,
Yeah,
and we were having a
yeah.
crack on that. And I was like, and you're like, who you come down here with? I said, Mrs. in the car waiting. So and then you sort of fucking took the piss and whatnot.
Yeah, your
But
missus was asleep in the car.
It was fucking, because it was late on as well, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was like fucking.
It was one, yeah.
Because I know we'd went for food and that, and it was sort of like, it was definitely past midnight, and she just went to sleep in the car and just said, can't enjoy yourself. So I was like, fair enough.
Yeah, that was a brilliant moment. But yeah, beforehand, Jack and Connor messaged us saying, where you at? I was like, I'm on motorway, I'm on my way down, I won't be long. Next minute I got a WhatsApp off them. They only checked in my name and went in my bedroom and rearranged it all and put toilet roll everywhere.
Oh, fucking.
Yeah, so yeah, that was a good day, real good day.
I think them early on pure nights were a bit renowned, aren't they? Like with a lot of people like they would call them because it wasn't as busy as it is now, but people were dafter. Do you know what I mean? Like a lot of people were a bit more wilder.
Yeah, everyone was out at that time, but with the likes of now, everyone's with children, so
yeah,
they're trying to work it round
what
everyone.
it is.
So yeah, from Excel, I think after that, I got back with Andy again, and we arranged Sangfest.
So this was 2018.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, 2018. So can you tell us a little bit about that? Where did that come from? Backstory about it.
Yeah, I think it was my idea, to be honest. It was when we started putting events back on and working, and we seen everyone was up for it. The nights were getting packed out.
So Sank was in 32 at this point, wasn't it? This was sort of pre-soup, pre...
Sank, I put a few sections on in 32. Then I done a biggie at Civic Hall and Soup at the same day, but I lost quite a bit of money on that.
I played opening set, didn't I, for that one?
Yeah, you did. Civic Hall was dead, but Soup was absolutely rammed.
Yeah.
It was that rammed at one point. I was on the door taking the money in, and people were just coming throwing notes at us just to get in. I had to phone my mum to come down and collect the money off us.
Mum, come down. Nah. Well, actually, no, because Section come before that, didn't it? Because I played your first night of Sectioned.
Yeah, that was in level 2, weren't it?
Yeah, but it was Bart at the time, wasn't it?
Bart.
Yeah, I remember that. That was sort
I
of
can't remember what year I started Section, to be honest.
I can't remember. If I'm not mistaken, 2017, maybe?
Yeah, it was round about then, yeah.
Right, so you seen that the nights were doing well and whatnot.
Yeah.
So where did you go from there?
So we pushed it and had a crack with Andy. Andy was like, "Do you fancy teaming up in working?" And I was like, "Yeah, might as well." So we done a few Section versus Santry in 32. They went down well. Then summer come and we were like, "We need to go bigger."
Right.
So
what was the initial plan? Was it you were putting it on and you were getting a couple of, like, was it just going to be one stage, or what was the thing behind it?
Yeah, well, we had a look at some spots because I think Johnny was doing that Jungle Boogie up at Clifton.
Right. Yeah.
We see him at
That's behind the petrol station, that one, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is, yeah. That's a smart place, like, but it's just getting in there because it's someone's land.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from there, me and Andy were like, right, where else can we do it? And I was like, it's town ground, but I'm not quite sure. So done a few phone calls and they agreed on it. So yeah.
It was a good day, that, man.
Oh, it was the best day ever. You couldn't.
Sun was out. There was no rain out like that. It was like literally being at a festival abroad. Like, I know it sounds daft and that, but like proper good vibes when you went in.
I think it helped as well because it was Seaton Carnival. So obviously Seaton Carnival finished at 2:00.
Yeah.
And the weather was great, so everyone just piled in from there.
Right.
Yeah, but the tents wise and whatnot, yeah, we had the main stage, so obviously we wanted to keep the main stage to what we play, which is Scouse House, classics, blah, blah, blah. But I said to Andy, there's a big push for Mackinac still. And he was like, right, we'll do another tent then, and we'll get Monton involved.
Right.
So we got a few Monton heads in, and yeah.
It
all worked well.
There was an old school stage in that as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, that was inside.
That was in the bar, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So, because I remember walking in, and I'm sure I walked in, I was like, oh my god, why is not more people watching this set here? Because I went in and there was DJ Tatty on, and Frenzy was on the mic, and it was like
proper old school.
Yeah, proper old school set, like, and I was just like, oh my god, this is class. So I stood in there and watched it with maybe about, like, I don't know, like 30 odd people. It should have been rammed the room, but like
it's because the sun was out.
Yeah, it's because the sun was out and everyone was outside. Because that first one was like really busy, wasn't it?
Oh, it's the best event I've ever put on in my life. It's probably best and most memorable set of my life.
Do you reckon? 'Cause I was going to ask you that.
Yeah, well, I seen you put that, but obviously because of all the hard work me and Andy put into it, just doing that last set to like all my crowd and work it in.
Yeah.
And like I was like, we built this.
It's outdoors. It's a moment, isn't it? As well. It's like, I know it can sound cheesy and a bit like cliche and that, but like I remember being out there and seeing, who was it on? Was it Ultra Beat maybe? No. Yeah, it must have been. I think Ultra Beat was on.
Yeah.
And the sun was starting to go down, and it was like proper. It just felt good. It's like you can't describe an atmosphere. It sounds cheesy as hell, but it was just like
well, the sea's right next to us.
Yeah,
so
right moment, isn't it?
Yeah, we've got the sunset and everything.
Yeah, so it just felt right. I think it was a really good night that.
Yeah.
I played the after party in Soup, that was fucking. That was terrifying, mate. I'm not joking.
It was ram, weren't it?
It was terrifying because everybody who went to the festival went to Soup afterwards.
Yeah.
And if you've got like, I don't know the numbers or how many were there, but this full festival crammed into the club,
yes.
And every drop I was playing, they were jumping up and down on the dance floor, and the floors and the roofs were shaking.
If the police come in, that spot would have been shut down.
Yeah. Quality night though, night. I remember I started off with like a bootleg of my bootleg of Wonderwall. So as soon as, because the dance floor got full straight away before I went on, there was no music on when I went in. But it was rammed. Everyone was like, there was the full bar. There was like people all around the bar, and you went on the dance floor, and everyone was having a crack with each other and whatnot. And I fired the first tune up, and they all started singing Wonderwall. Everyone's wrecked at this point. I know it's only like 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, but everyone's been on the drink.
Yeah, everyone's been on the drink all day.
Yeah.
So and then as soon as it kicked in, the floor, like I was scared because like it's an old building, but you could see that it was shaking the walls. It was like, it was weird. It was fucking mental. But yeah,
I spoke to Johnny about that. Because the dance floor is meant to have a spring in it. That's why they bounce. But there was some points where I thought that floor was coming in.
Yeah, that was like it was like sardine can though, wasn't it? Like there was so many people in there. It was unreal.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? So obviously you put that on. It's been a success. What did you do from there?
Booked a holiday, mate.
Booked a holiday. Booked a holiday off.
Yeah.
It's the right thing. Yeah. Once you've had all the stresses of putting the event on, like I've run club events, it is stressful, but like on a festival sort of outdoor level, it must be something else.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because you've got your security, your stages, and everything like that to pay for.
It was a pain in the ass on the day. Police come down. We had to do wind checks and everything. Like the little bits what you don't know about behind the scenes was the hardest part. Yeah.
So I think.
Yeah. After that,
I think I'll be honest with you. I've sort of went too far here, but I think the year before, and like don't mind me saying this because like it's said in sort of retrospect or something like that.
Yeah,
but fucking, I couldn't stand you the year before. Like, and I'm sure the feeling was mutual. I remember, this is a good little story, but like, fucking, I'd put a base mental event on, and I can't remember. I booked Cover, Scott Brown. It was like a good, decent lineup, and I thought, oh, this would be fucking rammed. I get in there, getting all excited and that about it. And then I think the day after I put it out, I was getting messages on Facebook. It's like, hey, you never guess what fucking Pears he's done, eh? I'm like, what's this? And you went and put Andy Whitby on the fucking Saturday night, and I was like, oh. honestly, for about a month, I was just like, that fucking rat.
I don't do it on purpose, but obviously,
no.
when you're booking people like Andy, it's through contract there.
Yeah. Oh, no, well,
and you get your set dates.
I don't hold any grudges against anyone at all. It's but at the time I was just like, oh, I just gutted her.
Yeah.
But like, because obviously I know the 2 different days, 2 different towns, but a lot of the same crowd would be going to one or the other. But obviously I've talked to you and that since then. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I played obviously Sankfest and that, and I cracked with you then, and I was just like, I was just a bit gutted. But then obviously
it is what it is. Like, obviously,
I fell out with a lot of people over things, and I know this is sort of going off, but I fell out with people over things, and I've just thought, what's the point? Like, it's been and gone. Do you know what I mean? But as I say, we've talked since we've had crack, we've done sets and that, and it's just
the full swing's like that, but
there's always a bit of everything.
Oh mate,
But
you can't do DJ on one brand and not be on the other.
If we're talking about controversy, right? Do you know I'm going to get on here? I haven't asked him yet, but I'm going to get him. I'm going to get Kieran Clark on.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just gonna.
Kieran will give you.
no, because
he's got no back doors. He's keyboard warrior.
I'm gonna get him on here, right? Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sit him down. I'm just going to say, This isn't a podcast. This is an intervention. Just fucking air it, man. Air it.
Fucking hell, that'll upset some people. Do you know what you're in for?
I know. Hey, listen. And do you know something? Anyone who's listening, I'm not even going to cut any of it up. I'm just going to let him just go, and I'm going to ask him how he feels about certain things, and then he can just air it because it'd be good crack.
He is a good lad, but
yeah. Do you know something?
His mental health gets to him now and again.
I'll be honest with you. Like, I didn't know him for a long time when he sort of thing, and then I met him. And if you talk to a lad in person, he's a nice lad. Like, he's a really nice lad. But it's just sometimes
he gets down in personal. Like,
yeah.
I know he doesn't mean it, but the things he says, like, you can't let that go.
I don't think people realise that, like, not just him, by the way, this is something else, but like, when people say things, they don't realise that the effects that come off it, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but I know, because I know him now, you know he doesn't mean what he says.
Yeah, true,
you know,
true. But it is a shame because he is a good DJ.
Like, no, honestly, like, he is a good DJ and he's got like a good taste within bounce music. Yeah. Like, he plays stuff that I would play.
He's got the same knowledge as me because basically we mixed together. I showed him a thing or two. Obviously, he could mix beforehand, but.
I'll be honest with you. I think he'd be further than he is if it wasn't for his mouth. Yeah. Listen, I'm going to send this to Kieran. I'm going to say.
I've tried telling him that for years.
And but I think he's got. Do you know something now? I think he's more self-aware of, like, if he just gets on with it, he gets the recognition that I think he deserves. Like, that's just one of them things. That's just me personally. Like, he hasn't got that thing of him anymore. I think he's grown up a bit as well.
But has he wasted his chance by?
Yeah, and the thing is as well, I think a lot of people don't realise he's only a young lad. I say young lad. I think he's only a year or two younger than me, but like, when he sort of came onto the scene, he was sort of young and immature, whereas he's sort of grown up a bit now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
So we're going to talk about your favourite sets. You were saying about Sankfest being one of your favourite sets. Is there any other stick out sets?
Syndicate, of course.
Yeah.
I done a night in Southport for Rob Kane. A classics night.
Reminisce, was it? Like, it was.
No, it's called Screamfest.
Yeah,
it was Fest or something.
It was part of Reminisce, wasn't it? Because they had like an old school and that on as well.
I'm not sure if it was or if it was just Rob's night. It was on that Pleasure Island at Southport. Yeah. That was really good. I'd say that would be another one up there.
So what sort of classics were you playing that night?
Club Caviar, Paul and Love, Pearl River.
That's
the proper classics.
Sets. Yeah, that's good to hear. Because I remember seeing that when it came out. Because, like, I'm sure Daz was on it as well, wasn't he? Daz,
yeah, it was.
So it was like a decent lineup, decent DJs.
It was an awesome lineup. Alex K, Yamanda.
Yeah, but like playing proper classics, like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I love the idea of it.
Not a donk inside.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with a donk,
yeah,
but
true.
It's like, I know what you mean. So I'm going to ask you now. Throughout the whole time you've been DJing, and it doesn't just need to be bounce, it can be anything at all. What's 3 meaningful tracks to you?
That is a hard question.
Mate, I sent you the fucking questions yesterday. You gotta think about
it. The track what I've just said before, mate, Club Caviar, Paul and Love.
Yeah.
I play that in most sets.
Good tune.
Yeah, excellent tune. Second, Webb, Love and Times.
Class tune. Which version?
I'm just going to leave that there because they're both as good as each other.
I love the Signium version, mate. Like, it's like, I know it hasn't got the hook line in like the
Cosmos
thing.
version. Is it Cosmos? Is that how you pronounce it?
I think so.
Yeah.
But I love the euphoric fucking vibe on the Signium version. I think that's fucking class. Like.
Yeah.
And your third track,
It's going to be Pearl River.
Pearl River,
Just
class.
because of Fusion.
That's a fusion anthem, that, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like,
isn't it?
yeah, like,
That was when every time I went in Fusion, I'll go up to Andy here and say, put Pearl River on, or maybe Ocean Lab Satellite.
yeah. Satellite's a good tune as well.
Yeah.
I think Pearl River tops it. Like, it's when you mix it in and
the piano.
the piano's just like lingering in the
Yeah.
background, build up, and then the vocal and that shivers down your spine. Thinking about it now, just class.
Yeah, but I've got so many tracks which I've got so many.
Yeah, but they're the three that sort of like that would stick with you, sort of thing.
Yeah, always.
Right. Is there anything you want to plug?
Sectioned at 135 coming up in May, 20th of May. Going to be dropping the lineup next week. So
Right.
I'm not going to say much on that.
Right. So what day when are you dropping the lineup?
I'm just waiting for the flyer back now off feed. So how do you fucking arse up feed? Yeah. So I haven't went all out,
Right.
but I think it's an effective lineup, and
It's good for a comeback because you haven't done one in a while, have you?
yeah, true. Because obviously Soup's been taken over now by Luke.
Yeah.
I think he's concentrating on house at the minute.
Yeah.
But I will be trying to get back in there.
Right.
But yeah, the likes of town, like 32 won't take any bounce on. There's Paduas, but I wouldn't want to step on Ash's toes there.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of
Yeah, it's one of them,
hit and
isn't
miss.
it? So, like, I know I've talked to you as a DJ and whatnot, but where have you been anywhere? Any iconic venues as a raver or just even as a DJ, really? Like, so you mentioned Halo, you mentioned Fusion, you meant so you mentioned Syndicate. So is there anywhere else that you went? Did you?
I've done quite a lot of nights. I've been Tall Trees, Wigan Pier, Hard House nights. I've done Tidy Weekenders, Storm, and the Emporium. That's a brilliant spot. Have you been there before?
Oh mate, don't get me started. Right, I've got a fucking minging story about this. I went to cause it's in Leicester, isn't it? Or Colville. It's in Colville.
Colville.
Right, so we were staying over in Leicester at the Premier Inn. Me and my missus went to Raves Reunited 2017 New Year's Eve. It was fucking unreal. Like, it was on a different scale to a bounce event. It was like you were going to a show. Do you know what I mean? It was like, because at the time hardcore was massive, and it was like, it was sort of on like a resurgence. And then you seen the likes of Stonebank coming back, Darren Styles,
so good.
yeah, and then Gamma was sort of blown up in the States. This was like it was just a perfect storm leading to New Year's Eve, and we got there. And me and my missus like just threw the bags into the thing, met up with a couple of DJs and that were on, and went in. Fucking had a good night and like seen some brilliant sets. Fracas and Darwin, like I wish they'd do some bounce music because they're fucking unreal. Like they've got a good vibe for bounce music as well. Like if you just slowed their stuff down to 150 and done it and whatnot. Anyways, me and my missus decided to come back. We ordered a fucking Uber Eats or whatever it was. I can't remember, Food Hub. And then she went up to the room and I sat downstairs at the Premier Inn, and this was like fucking 3, 4, well, no, it must have been late, it must have been 4 or 5 in the morning, and then she rang me and she said, "Get up these stairs now." I was like, "Oh, what the fuck's going on?" I went up the stairs and she went, "I went to lie down on the bed there," and I looked up, and on the fire alarm, right, on the fire alarm, there was a used Johnny on the thing, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And there was stuff in it as well, so it was like, it was disgusting, pure minging. Like, so I went down to complain, and the woman on the reception, it's like 5 o'clock in the morning. She was shattered. She's like, "What do you expect me to do?" I'm like, "What the fuck?" So, anyways, like that was my bad memories of fucking Leicester and Colville. Quality night, but like.
Yeah,
I
seeing
just
a Johnny in your face. When
Yeah,
you
like
get back.
she said, I just laid down, look up, and it was just there. Oh man! But what was Hard House nights like there at Storm?
Yeah, they were amazing, mate. I went to see Paul Glasby's last set.
Yeah.
That was class.
So when you think Hard House tunes, what sort of stuff were you playing at this time?
I was playing more funky stuff. A lot of Digital Mafia. Ross Thompson.
I like a lot of what Sam Town had done as well. They had them like
yeah.
it was like dirty basses, but it was like quite funky and that.
Yeah, it was like garage hard house.
Yeah,
that was like something different. That's what people need to push.
Definitely, it's something that because obviously we'll touch on this now. With production and stuff like that, I know you've like sort of dabbled in it in the past, and I know you've recently done a track with Drake Liddell. It was on the last podcast. In your opinion, I'll give you my opinion as well. Like, but does bounce need a bit of a shake up with what's being put out at the minute?
Of course, it does.
Like, because it's just, in my opinion, a lot of the stuff is starting to sound the same.
Yeah, producers are using the same samples. It's hard to explain, to be honest. You get the likes of Heads Up, DJ B, Joe G. They make their stuff with banging riffs.
Yeah.
Then you've got the likes of Matt C, who's going commercial now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it needs mixed up. People need to stop remixing the same stuff.
Yeah, is it that, or is it do people just need to start pulling influences from other places? Because I know there's a producer who's sort of up and coming now. Is it Doddy?
He's really good.
He uses and there's 1 and 2 as well. Do you know?
Yeah, I've seen that.
So they do like hardcore, hard style riffs, and I think incorporating that, a lot of people are starting to copy it and that, but a lot of people incorporating other styles and genres within the music.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Do you think that people need to put maybe a bit of the funky hard house into it, or some? I'm just speculating, or garage, or
definitely mix it up. But like you said, a lot of people are using hard style riffs and kicks and. But yeah, when you listen to the likes of Ben Nicky's sets, he's remixing classics lately, but on the drops it's all rumble and bass lines.
Yeah.
Then sometimes it goes from a rumble and bass line into a donk.
Yeah.
So I think he's mixing it up there.
Yeah.
I think you've just got to be different.
Yeah.
To stand out.
See, I went obviously Sanctuary and Wigan Pier DJs last weekend at the Black Box.
How was that?
It was class, but the thing that stood out for me, like I went on. John G went on after me, then Nicky B, Bonley, and anyways, throughout the full night, it was what you'd expect with sort of Wigan Pier classics, and then sort of your sort of run of the mill bounce tunes.
Yeah, just building up in stages.
But John G came on and he was playing loads of like Ben Nicky type stuff. He played Rhythm of the Night, and it was like the rumble and bass line and the drop and that, and like I wasn't expecting it. Yeah, it is different, but he's proper embracing it. And like I turned to Farrell and I was like, "What is he doing? This is class." And then Farrell just went to me. He's on a Ben Nicky tip at the minute, and I was just like, I like it because it was different. No, it's proper, and nothing against John, because obviously
John's brilliant.
Yeah, he's class DJ. His knowledge is unreal.
He's number one in the scene, man.
Like when it comes to his knowledge of all music, not just bounce. Like it's like his knowledge of like, because we talk about 80s and that when we get together. Like I know he likes Eurasia. Like that's one of them things. Yeah. But it's like he plays classics. I forgot about that. It's like you were saying with Zuni before. But then when you started playing this stuff, I was like, fucking hell. This is, right? No, it's just different, and it was like, it was a good different, and I think that's what a lot of the scene need to embrace.
But sometimes with John, you could turn around and he'll knock a spam mix in.
Yeah, he's so versatile when it comes to it.
Yeah, he's really good.
But like, I just, it felt fresh and it felt different, and it was something that that's why I mentioned it on air. I thought, people do need to start spicing it up, because as a DJ you do sort of hear the same tunes all the time when you're going out, because you're playing around that much, and you'll sort of see DJs play the signature tunes and whatnot. Yeah. But then for him to like just spice it up like that, it made me get excited about DJing again. Like it was like, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna try and find something different like that, because I'm not gonna say I'm gonna copy that style, not at all, because it's not really my thing. But it was good that it was different. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I was like coming back and I was like trying to find some tunes in which would fit in a bounce set that sounded different, and it got my spark for it going again. And I know for a fact, like, I was standing next to Ben and Chiv at the time, and I just turned to him and I was just like, this is different. This is very refreshing. Like, it was good. Do you know what I mean? So anyways, to finish us off, I'm going to ask you, if you went to a Chinese takeaway, what meal would you get for one and why?
Szechuan chicken.
Szechuan chicken?
Yeah.
What, fried rice, boiled rice, chips, noodles?
Half and half. I'll get some noodles. I'll probably get some rice, some salt and pepper chips on there.
What, you eat a lot yourself, like?
Oh, of course.
Fucking hell. I thought I ate a lot. Fucking hell. It's been a pleasure having you on. Is there anything else you want to say before we go?
No, not really, mate.
Just get the sectioned.
Yeah, get the section. I've got 2 events up coming next week. I'm at Baseline Bounce at Natwich. That's for Patch.
Right.
Then I'm at Sank on Sunday.
Is that this Sunday? Fucking hell. Flying in, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Right, well, thanks for everyone for listening. I'll see you again next week.